Make your way onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. Rocking left and right, forward and back on your spine. Gently massaging your lower back as you move in a way that feels good for you this morning. Slowly make your way to an easy seated pose. Legs gently crossed and sit bones rooting into the ground. Reach both of your hands above your head and twist to the left, connecting your right palm to your left knee. Deep inhale here. Exhale and twist a little deeper. Inhale, come back to center, twist to the right. Letting your inhale fill you up and your exhale twist you a bit deeper. Come back to center, extending your right leg long and rooting your left foot into your inner right thigh. Raise both hands above your head and twist to your left. Deep inhale and exhale. Gently begin to melt your way over your right leg. Half forward fold. Inhale, come back to sit and switch sides. Extend your left leg long and your right foot presses into your inner left thigh. Inhale, arms above your head, twist to the right. Inhale here, exhale and twist. Inhale, both hands rise and fold over your left leg. Half forward fold. And knowing that wherever your body falls today is exactly where it's supposed to be. Reaching and straining your body to try and twist or stretch in a position that might not feel the best in your body isn't necessary. So just relax, breathe, and sink into what is. Bring your right foot to meet your left and take a full forward fold. Letting your inhales lengthen your spine, crown of your head reaching outward, closer toward your feet, and your exhales letting you sink and melt toward your legs. When you're ready, come back to a seated position and place both of your hands, fingernails toward the front of your mat, next to your hips. Bend your knees and lift your hips so they're in line with your shoulders and knees. Your knees are hip distance on the mat and the knees are directly over your ankles. Toes, fingers spread wide and pointing straight toward your mat. Only let go of the head if that feels okay for your neck. Release. Come back to a seated position. We'll take one more tabletop pose. This is a great pose for people who slouch or sit at a desk all day, have tight shoulders. Release, coming back to a seated position before making your way to all fours for a tabletop pose. Fingers spread wide on the mat, palms rooted firmly, all 10 toes tucked under. On an inhale, sweep your left arm upward, and then sweep it through to the right side of your body, left shoulder blade coming down to the mat. Thread the needle. Gentle twist in your spine, rinsing out your low back and any tension you may feel there. Inhale, sweep your left hand back up and plant it into the mat. Inhale, sweep your right arm and thread the needle to the left. Again, working with every inhale, filling you up, and every exhale, twisting you a bit deeper. On your next inhale, sweep your right arm up and place it back on the mat. Now we'll take puppy dog pose, crawling your fingers out toward the front of your mat and melting your heart downward. Hips stay lifted in the air. And this is a low back release, as well as a shoulder stretch. Your chin can come to the mat, or if your forehead feels better, you can gently rest that either directly on the mat or underneath a small blanket or towel. Feel the long stretch in your spine as you press your hands down and stretch through the arms. And your hips are pulling back toward your heels. Remember to keep breathing in this pose, oxygenating any sore or tense areas in your body. Come back to all fours, tabletop pose. Keeping your toes hooked under, extend your right leg to the back of the mat, and then cross it over to the left edge of your mat. And take your gaze over your left shoulder for a gentle stretch in your right side body. Come back to center. Right knee comes back to the mat. Left leg extends long before crossing over to the right side of your mat. Gentle gaze over your right shoulder for a side body stretch on the left. Come back to all fours, and keeping your toes tucked under, walk your hands to meet the top of your thighs and sit for toes pose. This is an intense stretch, but one that gets easier with time. It stretches out the tops of the heels. Anyone who is a runner could benefit from this pose, as well as people who stand for many hours a day. Take 3 more cycles of breath in this pose on your own time. Inhaling through your nose, filling your lungs, and deep exhales through the mouth. When you're ready, crawl your hands back out to the front of your mat for another tabletop pose before lifting your hips, straightening your legs, and coming into downward facing dog. Deep inhale when you arrive. Exhale and sink your heart closer to the mat as you lift your hips and tailbone toward the sky. On your next cycle of breath, walk your hands to meet your feet and grab opposite elbows with opposite arms. Ragdoll pose. You can choose stillness in this pose, or you can gently sway left and right, keeping as deep of a bend in your knees as you need, especially if this is your first forward fold of the day, or if you are very athletic and are finally taking time to stretch these tight muscles of yours. On your next inhale, halfway lift, spine lengthens. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, hands above your head. Grab your left wrist with your right hand and tip to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, tip to the left, grabbing your right wrist. Inhale, back to stand. Exhale, hands through heart center, forward fold. Walk your feet mat's width distance and pivot your toes outward at a 45-degree angle. Bend your knees and sink your hips toward the mat. Goddess squat. Hands come to heart center in a prayer position. Elbows used as a gentle kickstand on your inner thighs to encourage opening of the hips. And don't forget to breathe here. Our hip flexors are universally one of the tightest areas of most people, and it's so important to keep these limber, loose, fluid, because our psoas muscle not only contributes to mobility and movement, but it is also closely related to our rib cage, which encourages good breathing and posture. Take one more deep inhale here. Exhale and drop fully to the mat, coming to a seated position before swinging your legs around and pressing again into downward facing dog. One deep cycle of breath in and out. Gently step your right foot to the top of the mat and bring both hands to the left side of your right foot. Drop your left knee to the mat, taking lizard pose. Sink your weight into your hips and then check in with your body. If it feels comfortable to you, maybe you explore lowering down onto both forearms. Keep your chin lifted and your chest open. Top of the foot can gently rest on the mat, or if you want to go even a bit deeper, you can hook your left toes under, ignite your quadricep muscle, and lift your left knee off the ground completely. We'll take 2 more cycles of breath here. Your inhale, brightening the front of your chest, opening up space in your shoulders, and your exhale, bringing you closer to the mat. One more inhale. Exhale and swing your right foot back to meet your left, downward facing dog. Step your left foot to the top of the mat, toes pointed slightly outward, 45-degree angle. Lizard pose. Hands root firmly into the mat on the inside of your left foot. Right knee drops. And your weight slowly drops into your hips. Finding whatever expression of the pose works for you today. Take 2 more cycles of breath. Deep inhale. Exhale and sink. Inhale. Exhale and swing your right leg round to meet your left and roll onto your back, rocking back and forth. Again, massaging your low back. And then straighten both of your legs toward the sky, bottoms of your feet as if they could walk on the ceiling. And then gently bend your left knee, crossing your left ankle over the top of your right thigh for a figure 4 pose. Your left arm needles through the figure 4 that you've created, and maybe your right hand and your left hand clasp over your right shin. If this stretch is a little much for you today, you can choose to keep your right leg tall and strong and simply clasp your hands behind your right thigh. And check in with your body here. Make sure your head, neck, and shoulders are melted toward the mat in a relaxed position. That you're not straining, pulling, crunching. Just resting, breathing, lengthening. Extend both legs high toward the sky. And switch sides, crossing your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Right hand through the little loop you've created for yourself, exploring the possibility of clasping both hands over your left shin. One more deep breath here. And exhale both feet toward the sky. And gently bend your knees, coming into happy baby pose. Hands wrap around the outer edges of your feet. If you can't easily hold your feet with your hands, you can rest them along your shins. Just be sure that you're not grabbing at your knees. This pose gently stretches the inner groin as well as the back spine. It's also been said to calm down the nervous system. You can choose to stay here, or you can extend your left leg long while leaving your right leg bent for a half happy baby. And switch sides. Right leg extends, left leg bends. Back to center. And then hug your knees into your chest one last time, giving yourself a squeeze before extending long into Shavasana. Arms and legs extend, head, neck, and shoulders melt into the mat, and your breathing begins to slow.